Now, Sorare is a fantasy football game, which means not only from a Sorare perspective, but from a football fan perspective, the number one thing is watching the football. The number one thing is having the football going on. But as we all know, there's a few things that go around being a football fan that are almost just as fun, if not more so in some cases. The transfer window is a real shining example of that. You know, the speculation on where players are going to go and where they're going to end up and what teams might have a real transformative transfer window. And in a Sorare context, that's fantastic as well, because at the beginning of the season, in-season cards, obviously the ones that help you make money, are at the most expensive cards available. And getting guys that are in a lesser position that are about to transfer into a better one at a cut price is a very fun and very engaging part of playing Sorare, building your roster and, you know, just trading in the market, because at the end of the day, they are football cards, you know. And this season has probably been one of my favourite, most enjoyable, most successful. I don't know how to really think of it. It's been a roller coaster so far for the season. If you've been keeping up with the How to Make Money kind of series, where I'm tracking my rare in-season, primarily Celtic collection, and how we're doing that with the amount of money we've spent versus the amount of money we've won and the value of cards that we've sold, that sort of thing, and the Road to Glory stuff, which came out earlier this week, and we were looking at getting into in-season goalkeepers a bit cheaper now that we're at this stage in the window, or this stage of the season, I beg your pardon. And for the main strategy, that's kind of been no different. But what I wanted to talk about in the video today, in the context of the football being back on, the transfer window just closing, and being an active Sorare manager, jumping into the market, trying to catch a bargain when you can, and then being able to get out of them when you can as well. And making sure that by the time the dust settles, you're ideally better off than when you started, no matter how that looks. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you are brand new to Sorare and you have not opened up your account yet, Sorare love the content here at Quinny 3001, and they've gave me a special link. That link is in the description of the video and in the pinned comment, and at point of recording it'll get you $150, pounds, euros, whatever your currency is, of market credits to go out and build your roster. The amount of credit you get is directly linked to purchases made on site, so make sure to read the T's and C's. If you get stuck, if you've got any questions, the beginner tutorials are in the description, and you can always leave a comment. I'll come in there and respond to you as well. But no matter when you click on that link, it is always going to be loaded up with the best sign up bonus available, because it directly supports me and all the content here at the channel. So I sincerely thank you if you do click on that, and if you get stuck, obviously reach out. But let's just get stuck straight into this one, because this is a video I've had locked and loaded in the chamber for a little while, and it touches on a lot of interesting points for Sorare managers that have been around the block once or twice, or anyone just starting out new today. Because, you know, speculating in the transfer market and going and trying to bring in Sorare cards, especially in-season ones, as cheap as possible on the break of a rumour, on the break of some news, it costs money. You need to have a wallet, you need to be liquid. Because number one, the market moves really fast on these types of developments, and number two, especially for the in-season versions of these cards, there won't actually be many of them available. And these types of developments, it doesn't take long for prices to move and to move on the way up, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. But not every transfer, especially if you're buying on rumour or on pending news, the way this window went, it wasn't a guarantee that the transfer was going to come through until it was a full-on, here we go, signed, sealed and delivered. And I had some mixed results with some of the transfers that I picked up. We're not going to fully, or will we? Nah, I don't think we're going to fully go through all the transfer spends as a whole, because I really want to talk about the trading activity more than anything. This page is a nice kind of summary of the majority of the transfer buys that I brought in, and this is me ditching them off to a trader called Pug Trader, okay? And as you can see, he's paid me some money for these cards, which is good, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is one of the most frequently asked questions I get from Sorare users starting out especially, is how to trade and how to deal with the bots. Now, there's a few of them out there, and the longer you spend on the secondary market, you'll just see them because they'll put it in their name that they're a trader. Pug Trader is a good example of someone else. Would be similar, would be like Trend Trader, Pavel Trader, these types of accounts that are ran by a person, and by sending them a direct offer with, you know, the whatever card they've got here presented. For Pug, it's this unique Connor Vandenberg. With whatever cards you want, they will reject that offer and they will send you a counter offer with how much money they would spend on the cards. Now, they do not offer very generous percentages versus what you would see listed on the secondary market, because they are a trader account. They are buying bulk, they are buying en masse, they are not scouring news and double checking for injuries and all that kind of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, they do catch on a sniff of anything obvious, you know, where everyone's trying to dump and unload on a guy. But for general trading activity, you know, they just play ball based on percentages and market values. So they are good accounts to follow as well. And then we've got other bots which, yeah, you know, when I've chatted to Charlie for setting up just generally talking about this as a topic. The Autobots is probably what we're going to be going with them. And these are guys that are ran by bots, it is like a trading bot. And again, it's the same sort of situation. You take on the card that's listed on their Hall of Fame here, send them an offer, and these guys are automatic responses for the most part. Very, very rarely they don't come back to you straight away. And again, it's very much based on market activity and recent prices and sales and everything else. Now, the Autobot guys generally do tend to be a bit more unforgiving on what cards they'll even do business on, as well as the prices that they'll offer. But again, whereas like your Pug Trader, your Pavel Trader, Tren, these types of guys, they might catch on to some news a bit quicker and just like no, but bots tend to just be a bit more blanket in that regard. So there's different, and again, like sometimes you'll get your Pug Traders and that sort of thing that won't touch a card, but you'll get some value on a trade with one of these Autobots to get a deal over the line. And long story short, you can see the deal that I've done here, but I shopped this bundle. The maximum bundle you can put together is 10 players. I shopped this bundle around all of the trader accounts, all of the bots that I possibly could, and Pug Trader was the one that came in with the highest offer. I can't remember really the bandwidth of all the offers that came in. But this was me trying to get out of all the failed transfers that I'd went through. And not all of them were failed. Santa Maria, I bought him on the move to Valencia. Pacheco, I bought him with a move to Alaves. And Patterson looked to be going to Sevilla on loan. And I thought I might get my way into a wee budget La Liga situation. The Patterson move didn't evolve, and really the whole thing just seemed a bit more pointless at that point, especially with the way crafting's been going and the way winning cards has been going. It's quite hard to guarantee you're going to get access to a high quality La Liga player. So I took the view that doing this type of thing will be okay once we win a talisman, once we win a star player in a champion league. Going into the league then around them later on and building a little budget build is more probable, more practical as well, more effective use of funds in that regard. But Brahim didn't go to Celtic, Vardy didn't go to Celtic, Dahlberg didn't go to Celtic. It felt like at this point in time Iheanacho didn't go to Celtic, and Bovine didn't go to Celtic either. We picked up some super rares to get some clues and whatever, so we added them in for a little bit of value, and we got 163 quid off of Pug Trader, and this is the first thing that loaded our wallet. Now, I'm not going to be directly linking this in to the videos we've done not too long ago, where we're tallying up all the money that we've won so far, etc, etc. We'll add all this in, of course, in due course, but this is just more of the kind of the trading proposition of it all. We also sold a reward card for 30 quid. We then spent about 35 quid on the Road to Glory, which I found quite fun actually, selling a rare to fund limited in-seasons to try and get the streaks going. If you want to think about it from that purely ROI perspective from my own situation, rather than just doing it for like the Road to Glory kind of budget content, as it were. I gifted Harry a wee super rare to help out his Escandel collection bonus and all that fun stuff. And then I had to rebuy Kelechi Iheanacho for 45 quid off a friend of the channel, Sorare Contender, because he did sign for Celtic. He was also going to play, and I couldn't not have him, so I had to kind of bite the bullet on that one, sadly. But the whole point of getting this wallet back together was to reinforce the primary Celtic strategy, and we spoke about this on some content about how it was mainly going to be between Ben Negren and Kasper Schmeichel. But after I'd got this bundle of money together, we'd reinforced the limited and we'd moved into the transfer window, Sorare also started really upping the ante on all of the missions that they were running on site in conjunction with the international window. Now, I've got a lot of international players at my disposal, and I think this was a fantastic, sadly we can't scroll back and look at the completed ones, but particularly for owning cards of lesser nations, there was some fantastic opportunities to get yourself into winning some essence as well as market credits, and the promotions that they ran all the way through the international window made it the best international window ever, to be honest with you. And no matter what you're doing on your journey, the ability to pick up that essence and those credits at that type of velocity, if you had international players, was a breath of fresh air. It was fantastic, and it made the international window an absolute pleasure. And despite me having like 150, 140 quid in the balance, I forget how much it was, maybe 165 odd at peak, after I'd bought those limiteds or whatever, the influx of market credits I was getting was putting me in a really strong position to go and get a Schmeichel or a Negren to reinforce all the gallery stuff. But a big part of the funds that came from all the transfer activities, like I mentioned in the intro, you've got to be liquid to be able to get involved in that, came from the Team Quinny promotion. Now, the link again will be in the description of the video. Feel free to share it with anyone that you know, but this is available to everyone now, essentially, and it's about bringing back Sorare players from the past, so anyone who hasn't played from the 1st of July clicks on your link, clicks on my link, whatever, they get a little open window. It's like being a new customer without being a new customer. They can use their own gallery. They might even still have cards in their gallery, and whatever. So that worked out really well for me. So much so that we actually got a Real Sociedad signed shirt from Sorare themselves. So this is a lovely one for the collection. I posted it on Twitter. We've got Brais Mendes is somewhere quite prominent, number 23. There he is there. Brais Mendes, love a bit of that. We've got Oyarzabal over here somewhere, the number 10. I've tried to find Take Kubo. Take's has got a bit of a diamond-y triangle thing in it. It could be one or two of these, but I'm not really that confident. We've got a wee one on the armpit hidden in here as well. I'm not too sure who that is. But this is a lovely top, little kind of Jacobite theme here as well. I've got Sociedad collection cards from this season as well. Funnily enough, we just bought some more Sociedad cards for Limited Road to Glory, so that felt like a really lovely gift, a lovely reward for the Team Quinny thing. We finished second to only Nepenthez, who beat us by 1, and Nepenthez, I don't mind just saying this, right, we had a full day head start on me, and if you look at the first post that Sorare put out, I wasn't even on the leaderboard, I wasn't even in the top 5, and then Team Quinny showed up in a big way. We finished second by 1, so that was a great promotion, and I'm looking forward to more of that happening. But that was where a lot of the funds came from as well, and a lot of the market credits that came as well from this. Now, all the little missions, just as a little kind of sidebar here, have been absolutely fantastic. They've been a lot of fun, whether it is just XP for opening common packs every day and just unlocking new reward things. They have made tweaks now so that these credits will be achievable. So we're making our way towards that on the Premier League at the moment especially. But I then started to try my hand to try and go and get after a Kasper Schmeichel, because I thought an in-season goalkeeper opens up a classic outfielder position, same sort of stuff we were chatting about on the Limiteds earlier this week, and let's go for it. And for the majority of the time I had a wallet and these market credits, the price just couldn't really get to me. Rob here, who I know always pops up on the channel, I forget what his handle is on YouTube, but I think it might even be the same one. He beat me to this auction, I know I was involved in that. And the amount of balance and credits I had just never really quite came to a Schmeichel. And to be honest with you, at the £200 mark, like, Schmeichel's great and everything, but his contract at Celtic runs out at the end of this season. I already got 2 of them last year, it wasn't cheap. And oh, that's a lovely one, that legacy one, isn't it? Oh, I might be tempted into buying that. I'm needing this, like 160, like it's coming down to an area where I'm a lot happier with it. But for the wallet I had, I didn't only just need a bit of reinforcement in the goalkeeper in-season position, but I needed some more reinforcements even in the outfield and really any position except for forward, because Celtic have got so many forwards that I'm always going to have options there and always going to have to play them. But in midfield and defence especially, I'm very open to getting reinforcements and pushing the boat out. So I then went looking for alternatives. Now, every week on the channel on Thursdays, we do gallery reviews where I'm looking at your guys' galleries, your guys' strategies, and we're going into the market and looking at, you know, what works well with what's at a good price point, etc, etc. And I just decided to take some of my own medicine. I went into the market, I was watching auctions, I was watching secondary market prices, I was thinking about fixture list, I was thinking about competition utility, all that good stuff. And I decided instead to go and pick up an Ederson. Now, this is a bit of a funny one, right? Because Ederson leaving the Premier League to go to Fenerbahce doesn't really do much for his price immediately on the market, because he's priced so high as a Premier League Man City goalkeeper. His price was coming on the way down. Now, this is a card like Ederson I would buy classic anyway. There was no chance I was ever going to buy an in-season Man City Ederson for a multitude of reasons that we don't need to get into. But at Fenerbahce, with that Turkish calendar, which, you know, they've got a wee bit of a Christmas break this year for once, which is a bummer, but you know, that synergizes very, very well with all my Scottish cards. He's also 31, not 36 or 37 or whatever Schmeichel is, and will play for more than the foreseeable future here. And, you know, I like Ederson a lot. I managed to pick him up for 134. There was market credits involved in this. I'm not too sure if we can see. I did see somebody saying there's a page where you can see that now, but I can't. I don't know what it is, but we didn't pay that much for Ederson, maybe like 80 quid, something like that, 80, 70 quid I want to say, and that was thanks to a lot of those international market credits that we'd picked up. And I thought for like a third of the price essentially of what I would be spending, and obviously I'm then saying with the credits versus not the credits when I'm comparing the price of Schmeichel and Ederson just now, but I think you get my point, you know, like being able to pick up Ederson for 80 quid after trying to get Schmeichel at full price before those market credits came in for a little while, just made absolute sense. And I thought, you know, there's no way he doesn't go to Turkey and isn't a good keeper for the most part. Ederson does look to be one of these keepers in the Premier League. Let's see how it does in Turkey with it. Maybe he can kill the odd game week, but I hope in Turkey at Fenerbahce it's a bit more 70 related, and he started off very well, of course, against Trabzonspor. But this opened up another little avenue, because I'd already bought Anderson Talisca, which, you know, like, seems to be kind of reliable enough, but he still gives me the heebie-jeebies coming into some game weeks. But we'd picked up that Ederson, and I say on this page, it doesn't even show us the market credits. We picked up some more cards for Road to Glory, and then I'd ID'd, and I'm looking around the Fenerbahce squad, I'm looking around the Turkish league, period, and I just could not believe that the price that Milan Skriniar was going for. Now, this says 143 here, right? And that is the transactional value of this, right? But again, I only spent 70 or 80 quid on this, thanks to the market credits. I got involved in on the auctions, and instant buy had went away from me. And, you know, I was hoping to get this guy like a lot cheaper. Sadly, the market credits I was waiting for, I had to wait for like stuff to happen before I could go after it. And then an auction moved away. I paid for this 9 days ago, so we're talking like the 10th. That's my instant buy there. The auction, if I'd bidded on it, and then you know, all the stuff. So I had the market credit sitting there, I just went for it. Somebody else instant bought above me as well at 172, I suspect, with a wad of market credits also. And the auctions have certainly lifted from before when I got into it, because it felt like Skriniar, like, I've had him for a little while now, so I think he's played those 2 games there, 77, 71, but he'd been sitting like this, and, you know, he was priced like 70 or 80 pound in the market. This is his track record in Turkey already. World-class centre-back for me. I thought with Jose Mourinho being the manager as well, this would be a good kind of balance. The Talisca plays a little bit of a part in this, but I'm more thinking about pairing it with the Ederson directly, because it's just a really good synergy position. And then, like, I've spent a lot of market credits here. I think probably the thick end of £100 in market credits, but a net spend of like 160 quid, 150 quid to get Ederson and Skriniar in, I think is massive for the gallery. It's a huge extra defensive upgrade. And then with some remaining super rares that I had, I went and got a Jamie McGrath in season, because Jamie McGrath is a player I like a lot for the SPFL. And he's like 30, he's priced at 30 quid. I just threw away the trash of the... We'd already done very well at the super rares. I'm quite happy that whole exercise kind of took care of itself. And then turning those 3 jabronis into... One of them is a 41-year-old goalkeeper, just to let you know, a perennial DNP. And then Rafael Bauza is the only guy that is playing, and he's playing in contender now, not champion. So, you know, really happy to do that. Pug did an instant trade on that, which was lovely. I bought a Santi Rodriguez in season, and then I got some Celtic versions of Yamada and Inamura, so I'll be able to trade my Japanese versions away now, as well as then going and reinforcing a little bit of the Road to Glory stuff, which we've spoke about already. But it's really, what I wanted to talk on in the video today, it was really with the help of market credits. But even if we wound back a week before market credits came into it, Schmeichel is going for around the £200 mark, £210 mark. Skriniar was going for around the 80 quid mark, and then Ederson, before I bought it 133, was going around the 120 mark. So a few different points in time and a few different situations here with credits, before credits, etc. Ederson and Skriniar have been available for the same price as Schmeichel, and as much as it's important to build into your gallery, build into your collection, build into your strategy, you do need to reach a point of like diversification for a few different reasons. For me with the Schmeichel, I've done it with Joe Hart. I've had Joe Hart's retire. I cannot go through it too much again too quickly, because it just hurts the gallery too much. And we've also got the situation where we're looking at this weekend where Celtic are in cup action, and thankfully, thanks to this little Talisca, does give me the heebie-jeebies, so maybe we need to do something about that before the deadline. Let's see. At point of recording, we are pre-deadline. But I've got Telio from the Celtic collection. I've got a classic Sani that comes into this. But we're able to go after Streak 2. We hit Streak 1 last week thanks to Ederson. Skriniar and Ederson, I didn't put them together. I can't remember the reason around it, but that's the way we went. It was against Trabzonspor. I don't think it was a great match expected to be. So, yeah, we done a 71, which was cool, but it wasn't guaranteed that it was going to be a good game, obviously. Trabzonspor top 4 side. And yeah, if even I knew like Talisa's going to come off the bench anyway, so how much do I care about this? It's as much as the second score, so I might have a wee hunt around the market for anything super cheap. But with Captain Skriniar, Ederson, and then guys like Telio and Sani in that lineup, that can hopefully be Streak 2 capable. And to give you a better idea of kind of what it's helped me do, if we look at the last weekend before we come into the game week that we've just looked at just now, you'll be able to see we've managed to get it up now to 4 lineups where in-season Mitov, who we got for 30 quid ages ago, comes into big effect. The Ederson really helps out. And as you can see, we've got 3 really good teams here, and it was Team 3 was the one that hit the streak, thankfully, and we're able to use different combinations of the Celtic squad, of course, as well as the guys like Skriniar, Braga, McGrath, Ederson. They've all kind of chipped in their own way. Talisca on a 47, maybe and less so. And then it's squad 4 that, you know, even Tilio has chipped in with something, and with the right combination of guys here, we're now getting into Team 5. Now, what Team 5 is, we've done this with moderate success in MLS, but as you acquire in-season cards, you want to use them all in in-season competitions at every possible turn. And now, thanks to the classic Schmeichel and the overspill of in-season cards, of course I'm going to play them somewhere, and I'm just going to be playing them down in limited, and anything this does is a Brucey bonus, is a win, you know. So we're on streak 2 in limited MLS thanks to deploying this type of depth strategy where we just put the absolute bottom of the gallery in a team at all times. But once we've filled in those 4 rare lineups, we're spilling into Team 5 being a team in limited. And then we'll have different prioritization decisions as that strategy evolves. Maybe we get to streak 2 and we maybe build that limited team before we build the 4th rare team, you know. So it gives us some different avenues and some more potential ways to try and win, to try and clip some ROI. Because all things being equal, if you can get on a run in the limited streak on the cheap and rare, it's quite an easy one. If you know you get step 3 on the horizon and you even get to step 4 or 5, diving into the limited in-season market just to buy a in-season, take your pick of whoever, Skriniar or whatever, isn't as much of an ask. And if you've just been kind of backdooring it into the strategy already, that's something I want to have myself exposed to and something I'm always quick to highlight when we're looking at this stuff on the channel. But again, I take myself and I look at this and I think, imagine we took out Skriniar and Ederson and just replaced it with a Schmeichel. This would have not hit the streak last week. It wouldn't have done anywhere near as good. And going forward, I wouldn't feel as comfortable about it. Now, the extra little special part about Fenerbahce, which is why I might focus on them a little bit in particular here, is that they also play Europa League. So having a Fenerbahce contingent in here, yeah, it feels like Szymanski and Talisca is the kind of... I'd love an Asensio, but I think he's a forward, isn't he? Yeah, 40 quid for a Szymanski. And I don't know why I've put forward here. Oh, these cards... Talisca is revealable. Oh, nice. I'll have some cards to open with you guys. That'll be fun. Yeah, there's no really cheeky wee cheap options. Edson Alvarez at 26 isn't projected to play. It's Fred and Yuksik. Dorgalez is a forward. Asensio's a forward. Yeah, they've got the same bloody problem I've got. Sofian Amrabat would be interesting. I'm not a fan of Amrabat, to be honest with you, but he should be a Matrix-friendly type player, although I'm not much of a fan. Where's Fred? There's no Freds for sale. I might just stick with the Talisca because he will come off the bench. I do like the thought. I've never owned a Szymanski. I'm a big fan of Sly from when he was back in Russia, especially. He is a good player. 40 quid. Wonder if any traders have one. Egg swap bot. Boom. And again, having a list of available players makes your life really easy for dealing with these guys. I wonder. Could we just throw them all this stuff? And while we're waiting on that, guys. Oh, Skriniar and Talisca are revealable. That is fun. I'm not revealing these Celtic guys because I want to keep them in the Celtic collection. And if I open them, they will be removed from the Celtic collection and lose any collection bonus they have. Now, I'm really hoping I get some special editions. That would be brilliant, by the way. Oh, that would be brilliant. Come on, let's see it. Talisca, give us a special edition. Look, well. Nice looking card. Talisca, number 94. Oh, that would be a fun jersey mint. And then we've got Skriniar. Right, come on. Special edition. We spent a lot on this. I know it was with market credits, but come on. Encrypted data. Oh, maybe not. Skriniar. Nice. That's cool. So the cards are revealed. Because I do want to hit this streak because next week I think is the last week for it when it's on boosted. And next week we'll have Celtic cards back. So if I can have step 3 set up, you know, this is going to pay out $40. So paying $40 to hit $40 is probably not a bad move. But if I can get that trade done, that would make things a lot easier. And off the back of some of the stuff we've done recently, if I did want to further enhance this strategy, which is something I'm open to still doing, we have just crafted a Jonathan Osorio, which is worth basically nothing, and a Castello Lukeba. Now, I'm really torn on what to do with this, because part of the strategy is to craft champion cards to sell them. Lukeba is a boss. He is going for, wow, the last auction went for 135. Probably some credits on that, but all the same, does lift his price point from the £100 marker, so no midweek football to worry about. Powerful centre back. I think I've won him before, but it's a card I would rather keep rather than get rid of overall. But if Schmeichel or Negren or somebody really good like that cross lines with like the price of Lukeba, I would certainly be open to the thought of trading it around, but I'm going to keep him in situ, but there might be some more trading activity to go along with that. Sadly, no. Egbot is not interested in my little available list, but that didn't stop me trying to push the boat out a little bit further and trying to get, just go back to proposed trade, add in a couple of cards in, see if we can get him pushed over that biting spot. And this is the last offer that I've sent him, and let's see what he does with it. I don't mind throwing some of these limited cards in from Road to Glory, because I did, as you've seen before, like go and spend to add in some cards into that over the transfer window. These guys are all like injured and not really needed by me anymore, and if they could, I've been getting the cold shoulder. Now, I may be dealing with a bigger, better trade than what I'm offering him right now, so fine. But I've got the feeling Egg's giving me the cold shoulder here, and he's just patching me because this offer he finds perhaps derisory. But we'll see how it pans out. And I might just roll the dice and play Talisca from the bench. The number one thing that makes me want to pursue this a little bit more in case Szymanski does end up being the starting player for Fenerbahce is, like I just mentioned, I thought the defence would be for Jose Mourinho. The defence is not. But the attack now, the new manager is Domenico Tedesco, who's a manager I'm very, very familiar with from his time at Spartak Moscow, RB Leipzig and Belgium. And this guy is a very attack-minded coach. And if it is Talisca or if it's Szymanski, either way, I want to have the number 10 in the team, and if that's a handcuff situation as it evolves, then fine. They both did start midweek, so I don't think it's necessarily a either or for certain, but let's see how the team evolves and let's see how it shakes out. But Talisca's missed a penalty or two. He's an important player. He's a big player. It's hard to imagine he gets totally sidelined and marginalised, but just going for that second streak, it just puts a lot more pressure on the other four players to really deliver. If we're imagining going into it that Talisca's going to bring us like a 35-40. So if I can get the Szymanski over the line, I'll feel a little bit better. But it means I've still got this headache of midfield whenever we are going to get to midweek utility and we play in the Europa League. Now on the tournament tab on your Sorare gallery, you can filter by these competitions so you can get a better idea of everything you've got available. I've obviously got all the Celtic stuff coming out of my ears, which is brilliant. The in-season Ederson will help quite a bit. But I do feel that there is going to be a good amount of pressure on my midfield selections still in this division. So I think the Szymanski is, and again, imagine Talisca ends up starting the game. Wouldn't that be the thing? Because we've had a lesson like this before recently on the strategy where for the Dominic Fitz move, if we didn't do the Dominic Fitz move exactly when we done it for the utility purposes, we would have actually hit a further streak and would have done a little bit better. So I am cognizant of that as well. And I don't want to, bring a Szymanski in and then it's Talisca that starts and Talisca rips a big score and puts his name firmly on the team sheet in the best 11 going forward. So I'm still in kind of that no man's position, but I am looking at the Europa League as the final piece of the utility puzzle to maximise the in-season rares, because this video has been kind of all over the place in a few different ways, okay, but if we think about the limiteds, this is where we want them to get to eventually, where the cards that is at its disposal can enter into the international, the missions, try and get some credits, try and get some essence, and also when we get to midweek activity, we've got a full team that we can put out there. So this is a journey, a path, even getting all the way into the depth, going into different scarcities if you're starting at rare, that is really kind of taking on another arm and a leg over the last couple of weeks. It's a really exciting time for any strategy, and if this is a point that you've got to already, it's maybe a good time to just have another little look at it, and maybe you've played along with the video as we went through it. But if you're not quite there yet, or you're maybe on the cusp of this, maybe it's helped you kind of think ahead and, I've got a gallery like this, or I could think about doing something like that to make sure that these next little steps, because this is, building your gallery, building your squad is a lot of labour of love. You're putting a lot of it together. And if you look at the early signings I've made in this, yeah, there's been a few big ones like Tierney and Johnson, right? But Forrest, Osmond, Yang, Ralston. There's a lot of, especially when you're operating on a limited budget, of buying guys for tomorrow, as it were. And when enough of those guys have been built up and you're then able to add them into, with market credits and prices correcting and kind of easing off as the season goes on, whatever, better quality and more first team players, then you want to make sure you're getting every slice of every pie you possibly can. And the midweek one is one that for Celtic in the Champions League has never really worked out well for me. I don't think our fixture list in the Europa League this year is particularly great, but Everyone keeps saying Europa League must be better for Celtic SO5 than the Champions League would have been. And with also having Fenerbahce in there is like a dovetail element to it. I'm actually rather confident that this is going to kick off in a big way. And it means then for the rest of the season, really every window, every game week, whether it be midweeks for in-season, whether it be internationals, as well as the regular weekend stuff, all of the in-season pieces of the puzzle or the pieces I'm putting onto the board are all getting into a really good position of strength. And hopefully now we start to get some snowballing and some compounding on those wins that we've been picking up so far already this year. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section down below. If you haven't done so already, please do hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Hit the like button if you did enjoy the video, of course. On screen and now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Good luck with the game week. Have a great one. Stay out of trouble. And I will catch you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.